everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome one and all to episode 188 of In Focus Friday, the show where we take a good close look at cool things made of silver or gold. Last week it was the turn of the Perth Mint 1/20th ounce gold Lunar series, a fantastic set, and if you've not checked that out, there's a link down in the description below. Perhaps go and have a look after today's featurette on what is arguably one of my favourite gold coins of all time, the 50 pesos. I've featured it on my channel so many times because it's my go-to piece. It's a really cool, good sized piece of gold to have. But we've never done an In Focus Friday on it. We have on the very, very cool 20 pesos and teeny tiny Dos pesos, and perhaps we'll have a quick look at those in today's video. But recently we acquired a second one of these 50 pesos about 6 months ago. But the creme de la creme is now we have acquired number 3, and that was done in the last couple of weeks over on the Silver 4, and I'm really happy because it's a 1946, which is an original year date rather than one of the 1947 restrikes. So I thought, what better time to devote an episode of In Focus Friday to what is I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say my favourite gold coin of my entire stack, because we have 3. They're absolutely stunning. Look at them all lined up in a row there. Absolutely love this. It's just got everything that I would want as a coin collector. It's just got some size, some weight, some heft. I love the purity, I love the history, I love the design aspects of it. On the reverse we've got the eagle here. It's absolutely stunning. So today we're going to go through some of the coin specifications, a little bit of the history behind the design and the coin itself, and also talk about some of the pitfalls of it, because I absolutely love these, and one of my bucket list things would be to have a whole roll of these, 20 of them, lined up in a big old roll. Yankee stacking, if you're watching this, I know a lot of you saw this featured on that podcast we did last week, but he had his Yankee cannon of 1 ounce gold eagles. If I had a Yankee cannon of or I wouldn't be a Yankee cannon, it would be a Backyard Bullion artillery piece of these 50 pesos. That would be a sight to behold. So let's dive in and talk about the 50 pesos gold coin. So first up on the obverse here, we have the Angel of Independence. So this coin is all about Mexican independence, about celebrating Mexican independence of 100 years from 1821 to 1921. So 1921 was the first year that these were issued, up until 1947. So some of the 1947s will be original year dates, but it's hard to tell the difference because from 1949 to 1972, 4 million were restruck, and in the date of 1947. Apparently there are some which have the dates beyond 1947, and those would be few and far between. That's what I'm insinuating from a lot of the different dealers' websites that give information about these coins, so that's something to factor in. We'll talk a little bit more about mintages as we go. Let's focus on the history first and the design. So the history of this is all about this statue here, which is the Independence statue in Mexico, and this was designed and created in 1910 to celebrate the actual independence of Mexico from Spain by that Declaration of Independence in 1810. An 11-year war of independence was fought until 1821 here, when they finally secured that independence forever, which is why you have 1821. So, of course, 1921 will be the 100-year anniversary of that. But this statue was created in Mexico. It's about 7 meters tall. It's made of bronze and gold, and it's depicted here on this gold coin to commemorate that independence movement and celebration. 50 pesos, big old chunky coin for sure, and it really does, show the design of that statue really well. I have to say it looks really very attractive indeed. It's got a lot of Greek kind of look to it and feel, with that sort of laurel wreath held high, that kind of, it does have that victory look and feel to it. And I love that design. I love that classical nature to it. It's a different part of the world to the classical era that you see, but it's got all of this roots and history, of course, with the Spanish culture. And I really do like it. I think that's very cool. Designed here on the coin by Emilio del Moral, which I think is fantastic. Now let's have a quick look at the reverse, which also has some really aesthetic looks to it in the form of this eagle fighting a snake. And this is a very traditional piece of Aztec culture, which has sort of bled into the Mexican culture, of course, now. And this famous, this sort of famous Aztec legend is that the city was to be founded where you witness an eagle eating a snake on a lake, and that is, of course, how and where Mexico City is supposed to have founded in ancient times. So that's really cool. I love it. And it, of course, on the size of this coin, it really does show quite how cool that looks with the design, and just, it really does have that classical look, that classical feel, but it's also got that Aztec look and that Aztec feel. And as you see from the sort of the 20 pesos, I'll just grab this out very quickly, the Aztec culture and history really is important and shines through on a lot of these designs. And you can see there again a slight different depiction of the eagle with a snake on the lake. So that is you know, a really nice touch, and I love the fact that it's just, yeah, it is just really, really lovely. As well, we have on the rims of these coins, if I can find the first bit of it here, the independent, and this is where I'm going to butcher some Spanish pronunciations, I'm afraid, so Independencia y Libertad. So that is, of course, celebrating the liberation and independence movements and liberty and freedom. So really cool. Now, one thing that I've noticed having numerous ones of these, let's just get the 1947 stacked together. So you can see here, we've got them lined up exactly 50 pesos to 50 pesos. But then when you look at the rim part of it, they are different, and they are also the different way up, which I think is interesting. So that says to me that these were definitely made at different times. They were probably made with different dies, and well, certainly with different dies, because you can see that the rim design is different there, which I think is also a really nice little touch. So you definitely know there's a different. And then when we line up the 1946 that I've got here, again you can see that there is another disconnect in the lettering. It is facing that way again. So this one over here perhaps is the restrike, and perhaps this one is an original 1947. Who knows? Maybe that's one way to look at it. I haven't ever really done any research on it, and maybe that's something to concern ourselves about, that this is the letters are a different way around. I don't know. I mean, in terms of it being a real gold coin, I have no doubt I've done various different tests on it to ensure that it is gold, so I'm not really worried about that side of things. But I thought that was a little interesting thing to share with you guys, because it's not often that you get to see lots of these up close and personal. So what we're going to talk about next to round this video out is, are these good coins to buy? Are they good coins to have and invest in? So, one thing we haven't talked about is that they are, as you can see, 37.5 grams of oro puro, as we can see here. Oh, and there's so many things, there's so many facets about these coins to talk about, so I do apologise. Here's another very quick tangent. 1943 is a key date year, because the gold content here was also written on this side of the coin as well. I don't know whether that was a mint error or a design change that just didn't really flow, but they did change that for that year, and that makes them a little bit different, which I think is quite cool. Last thing to say on the coins before we move on, because I have realised that there's loads of different things we haven't talked about. Mintage wise, the mintages on these are interesting. The 1921, the first year of issue, seems to be the key date with a mintage of 180,000. They then all range in various different mintages up to the highest mintage year, which was 1925, of around 780,000. So we're not talking millions of issued per year, but at the same time, they are not by any account rare coins. And that is definitely something to factor in. Of course, the 1947s are by far and away the most common year date coin, whether they're the restrike or not, because there are over 4 million of these coins that have been minted and restruck. So definitely one to see as the lowest premium of all of them. Now, in terms of whether these are good things to buy or not, so they do tend to, when I've seen them come up for sale, certainly on dealers' websites, they come up for sale with quite significant premiums above them. And I say significant in the fact that they're around 8, 9, 10% over the spot price value. And that's not necessarily unsurmountable for what they are. I think they're really lovely coins, and if you are holding them for a very long time, that kind of premium is definitely going to at some point be realised. And as I said, they do tend to hold their premiums on the second-hand market. They are very sought after. If they come up at a decent price, I see these sell very quickly on forums, on second-hand sites. So they are very much, they come up, they go. They are popular. That is one thing that's very good. The last thing, though, that really kind of restricts perhaps the potential for these to be a big roll, I said I want the BYB artillery piece of 20 of them, is capital gains tax. Now, capital gains tax, for those who don't know, is when you sell an item, an asset for profit. If you make a profit of over a certain amount, which in the UK is £12,300 profit per year per person. So remember, that sort of allowance can be doubled if you are in a marriage. And then you have to start paying taxes on those profits. Now, that's not necessarily actually quite as insurmountable as you might think. Of course, gold could go up quite significantly, and if gold goes up, to £3,000 an ounce, and you're making, £1,000, £1,500 an ounce profit per coin, and you have 20 of them, then yeah, you're going to be quickly over that limit. But again, that's if you sell all of your gold in one go. We have in our pension stack quite a diverse range of coins. Quite a lot of them are capital gains tax exempt in the form of Queen's Beast coins, Britannias and things like that. So, the vast majority of what I have is capital gains exempt, which means that we could sell quite happily, 16, 17, 18,000 pounds worth of profit in 1 year and have most of that taken up by capital gains exempt stuff. So, it is a concern if you want to have a large volume of these coins and if you expect or hope that the gold price will go up quite significantly. But for me, I don't necessarily see that. I see the gold that we are buying and using is going to be used as a kind of drawdown pension pot over a long-term period. So the potential for me to have to sell all of this in one go, realise a really large profit and pay a bunch of capital gains tax is not something I'm overtly worried about. It's something that you have to factor in if you are looking to have a large amount of gold. But I've always said this, if you are in a position where you've made as much profit as you have and you have to pay capital gains tax on it, that's in itself a really good thing. If gold goes up to 3,400 or 4,000 pounds an ounce, that's a good thing. You have made a lot of money. So there's definitely two schools of thought on the capital gains tax side of things. And for those of you who are in the UK and this is perhaps a bucket list coin, I would not let capital gains tax exemption status put you off it. I think it's a really, really cool piece and one that you would absolutely love. They are just so satisfying to hold. They are one of the biggest gold coins out there on the market that you can get hold of relatively easily without too much hassle. And that's another thing. There's just so many facets to this that I've missed out. So thank you to anybody who has been watching this far. Do let me know if you're one of my Backyard Bullion hardcore viewers that stays to the end and watches me ramble on and go on so many tangents. This was, of course, predating the Krugerrand. So these 50 pesos coins were one of the premier gold coins in the sort of between 1920s and the 1950s or 1960s even, because the Krugerrand really didn't come in until 1967 when it was the sort of taking over the world as that gold coin of choice for everybody to have. And the 50 pesos holds that history as being one of the biggest gold coins out there that was readily available, seen and sought after. And it played a very big role in the Mexican financial collapse and crisis of the early 90s. And people were, certainly in Mexico, holding on to their gold and seeing huge gains over their the value of their fiat currencies. So lots of really interesting things about this coin. I love it. I think it's definitely my favourite coin to have. It's just so wonderful. The size, the weight, the feel, the look. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. So please let me know down in the comment section what you think about them. We haven't even really shown these ones again. If you want to see these, I will try and remember to put links to the 20 pesos and the 2 pesos down in the description. These are also really awesome. I have a real affinity for these coins and I do like them. However, there are, of course, the 10, the 5, the 2.5 still to collect for me to have a set. I think I will probably get those at some point. But, if I've got a lot of money to spend on gold, I'm going to look to try and find another one of these at some point because they're really very cool indeed. So that's it for today. That's my take on the 50 gold pesos. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's video and enjoyed this coin, you know what to do. Hit that like button. It really does help share this video around through the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, I want to finish my video with the usual shout out to all key workers and healthcare workers out there in this world. Thank you for all of your hard work and effort. And a reminder to all of you out there to stay safe, stay home and save lives. That's it from us. Thanks for watching. Please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.